loud. Okay, so I finally watched parts 1 and 2 of Carlos King's interview with NeNe Leakes, and I have to admit I loved it. That's probably one of the best interviews on YouTube that I've watched in a while, and I think I liked it so much because it gave me a different perspective of NeNe. It gave me a different outlook on NeNe, I would say. I like NeNe Leakes. I think she's hilarious. She's funny. She's a key. She's kind of like an around the way girl. And I don't mean around the way as in like out there and, sluttish, nasty. Not like that. I mean around the way like normal. Like not normal, but kind of like me. Like, like I'm kind of from a hood, but not the hood. I'm kind of ghetto, but not in a bad way. Like I'm a little loud. I'm very country. And that's kind of, how I look at NeNe. And that's why, I kind of liked her. I related to her a lot. But I did think that around her leaving the show that she was kind of mean. Like NeNe was on a mean girl role. And I never looked at it as though she was just having life-changing experiences, and that's probably why she got, because I'm not gonna lie to you, I was looking at it like NeNe just got the big head. NeNe started getting that money. NeNe got those teeth fixed, started getting that wig right, and baby, NeNe was just looking down on the girls. But when I watched this interview and I listened to her speak on the girls of the show itself, Andy Cohen, and just things that she went through in life, I was like, well, dang. Yeah, true enough, NeNe lay her bed, now she has to lie in it. However, I don't think that I gave her a fair chance of what her life was like what she was going through. Greg was sick. God bless the dead. Greg was very, very sick. And even though it didn't seem as though he was like as bad as he was upon her exit of the show, everyone knew that it was kind of bad, right? We all knew like he had cancer. It was bad. He wasn't in good health. And I don't think that it really hit me until she spoke on it. And I was just listening to like dang, people change when they're going through life-changing experiences. And losing your husband of almost 30 years, losing your job of over 10, 12 years, that'll change a person. So when she was exiting the show and she was speaking on that, she really didn't want to come back, like they were decreasing her the episodes that she'd be featured in, and they were trying to phase her out of the show. Like when your husband is sick and going through all of this stuff, and then your son, your children are acting up, behind the scenes, that's a lot to deal with. And then to top it off, now I have to be around these girls who stabbed me in the back, who's betrayed me. Now I got to sit up here and film with y'all because we co-workers. Oh, hell no. Child, I could understand it. When she spoke on how she has stood up for the girls behind the scenes, and I'm not a fan of Claudia Jordan, but let me tell you, what NeNe did and said in that interview, and for Carlos to confirm that she did fight for Claudia, that was real big of her. Because in that Claudia ate NeNe up. Claudia ate NeNe up, spit out, picked up pieces, chewed up again. Claudia killed NeNe in that read session. And for her to sit up and admit, I was, fighting the wind. It's like, hold on, girl. I was pulling reeds from up under my wig. And yes, I am sitting outside, so y'all will hear the semis passing by. But when she was she was pulling those reeds forever, I'm like, baby, it was at one point, I was like, oh, NeNe just need to give up. I'm not a fan of colorist Claudia. However, the girl got a quick tongue and some loose lips. Baby, she will read you like hooked on phonics. And I can give her that. And I think that Claudia would have been good for Love and Marriage. Not Love and Marriage. Look at me to my Love and Marriage. Some people embedded in my brain. For the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Simply because She's not afraid of people. She's not afraid to call out bull. Like, she call it how she said, whether she's right or wrong. And she just wasn't doing a lot of, she wasn't doing a lot of that. So, yeah, I really enjoyed that portion. And then I also enjoyed her speaking on Cynthia. Pretty much because I thought Cynthia was a little follower too. I thought she was, didn't have a backbone. But then NeNe had said, like they said, a couple of people had said it on that show that Cynthia, Cynthia was a different kind of girl off camera. And it was interesting when Carlos asked, why didn't Cynthia want to show that side of her? And when NeNe explained, like, a lot of those girls didn't want, for people to see a certain side of them because they didn't want to be judged. And I can understand that. Wouldn't be me. Wouldn't be me, baby, because they said, I got to be who I am. I'm sorry. And because I don't know how to be nothing else. Because you can only fake something for so long because the true you is going to come out anyway. So there's no need in trying to put on and just be who you are. And maybe had Cynthia been more of 50 Cent, she would have stayed on The Real Housewives of Atlanta because Cynthia was just boring and it wasn't giving anything. So she was really taking up space. The last thing I really want to touch on real quick is when NeNe said that she felt that she was standing up for the girls a lot, and when it came time for them to stand up for her, nobody stood for her. And I can completely understand, and I saw it. I remember at one point, NeNe would defend, each, different girls in that group. And when it all boiled down to it, she's left to fight this battle on her own. But if we're being honest, when you're talking about your job, and not many women on The Real Housewives has anything going on for real outside of that show. Candy does her group thing in touring, and she has multiple businesses. I'm not sure how well Kenya Moore Hair Care does, but she has that. I don't know what Sanya got going on with whatever she doing. Drew ain't dropping a pound, so I know that's not a real business. Like, they really only have The Real Housewives, so I wouldn't expect for them to, morally, yeah. That's not only is that your friend, but that's your coworker. If you know that this company is doing wrong by not only her, but you as well, and other people, you got to stand for something at some point. But when that's all that they have, it's hard when you have a family and responsibilities to turn on this company just because they're doing y'all wrong, or they're doing her. She wants to call out that they're doing her wrong. That would be difficult for some people to do when they have nothing else. But then again, it also lets you know, hey, your next battle is your next battle. Like, don't look forward for me to come save you. And everybody gets a turn. There comes a time when it's everybody's turn. So there is no such thing as it'll never happen to me or it won't happen to me. Like, you could be Andy's favorite today and he could be stepping on your neck tomorrow. This was a real good interview. I wish I would have actually sat down and taken notes and did my commentary on it based on the notes, because the interview was good from start to finish. I really enjoyed, the section about Wendy Williams. I don't know how much of that I believe. Like, it's easy to say almost anything about Wendy at this point, because Wendy wants us to feel like she done lost her mind. And I really don't believe that Wendy is that bad off. A part of me just really believe that Wendy plotted all of this just like this, so Kevin couldn't get her money. Baby, I go crazy too if it keeps me from having to pay my ex-husband and his now mistress and their baby that they cheated on me with and got. Oh, baby, yeah, I be in and out of rehab too. Sorry, you ain't gonna dime for me. But yeah, good job with the interview, Carlos King. Great job, NeNe. I really enjoyed it, and I really look forward to seeing NeNe on another show. When he mentioned Love and Marriage Atlanta, I almost passed out, because I can recall, I think like a year or so ago, when stuff was getting hot with Melody on that reunion. Like, Melody responds to people in those DMs, honey, and I know I hit her up one time. I was like, girl, you need to move to Atlanta, get you a couple of women, get NeNe Leakes, Portia Williams, get Shamil Moore, and then get you 3 other women that's married and that's lit, and start a Love and Marriage Atlanta. I mean, she hollered, like, she calculated, like, okay, that's a good idea, girl. But yeah, like, it was so funny when he said Love and Marriage Atlanta, because that'll be so lit, because Love and Marriage Huntsville done had it. But let's see what happens. I would hope that Carlos would tag team with NeNe and help her to get back on television, because she is needed, regardless to what people may think of her, how much you may dislike her. NeNe is reality TV gold, honey. And I really enjoyed this interview. It really helped me to see her in a different light. Yeah.